He laughed as he stabbed the tire of the black man's parked car just for fun, just to mess with him, unaware that the man he was taunting once led missions so classified. Even generals didn't ask questions. It happened on a quiet Wednesday morning in rural North Carolina. The sun had just begun to burn through the morning fog when Officer Caleb Myers rolled into the county courthouse packing lot coffee in one hand, smirk on his face. There were about 10 vehicles there, lawyers, clerks, maybe a journalist or two, but his eyes locked onto a sleek, black Dodge Charger parked alone near the security gate. He knew whose car it was. Jericho King, a black man, well-dressed, car spotless, always confident. Jericho wasn't from here. He came down from D.C. a few times a month. Officially, he was a legal advocate for veterans' rights, fighting pro bono for ex-soldiers the system had forgotten. But Myers didn't care. He just didn't like him. Too silent, too proud. Other deputies joked about him all the time. Who does that guy think he is? Walking around like he owns the courtroom. So today, Myers decided he'd send a little message. He walked casually past Jericho's car, took a sip from his coffee, then pulled a pocket knife from his belt. The front tire deflated instantly. Myers chuckled. Oops. A female officer nearby raised an eyebrow. Did you really just do that? Myers shrugged. He won't do a damn thing. Just another loudmouth in a suit. What Myers didn't see was the courthouse camera catching everything, and what he didn't know was who Jericho King really was. Inside the courthouse, Jericho sat quietly beside a young Marine amputee, walking him through a complex hearing. He listened more than he spoke. His voice was calm, even surgical. He didn't posture, didn't raise his tone. But when the hearing ended and Jericho walked out to the parking lot, the sight stopped him cold. Tire flat, no note, no explanation. He looked around. And then, through the tinted glass of a patrol car nearby, he saw Myers grinning. Jericho didn't say a word. He walked past him, straight to his trunk, popped it, pulled out a portable air compressor, and began to fill the tire like nothing happened. But inside his mind, something stirred not. Rage. Protocol. His mind didn't work like other men's, because this wasn't the first time he'd been ambushed. By the time the smirking cop saw the Pentagon-issued badge, it was already too late. He had picked a fight with a ghost from America's darkest wars. Back in the station, Myers was still riding high. He thought it was hilarious. Guy didn't even flinch. He said to another officer, "Just like I thought, all talk, no bite." But the station chief wasn't laughing. She had just received a flagged email from the Federal Department of Defense attached to court video, a parking lot timestamp, a license plate. And a classified identification card. Jericho King wasn't just a veteran advocate. He was Colonel Jericho King, retired Tier 1 Delta Force Commander. Service record classified. Combat history sealed. Confirmed kill count unknown. Rumors within the military whispered he had led the kind of operations that never made headlines, the kind where men vanished and regimes fell, the kind of man you never crossed. The station chief turned pale. She made one phone call to Jericho directly. He answered with quiet authority. "Yes, this is Chief Ramirez, Mr. King, or should I say Colonel. I want to extend a formal apology." Silence then. "Thank you, Chief, but I'm not here for apologies. I'm here for accountability." He hung up. Okay. Meanwhile, Myers' world began to unravel. First, a call from Internal Affairs, then the Department of Justice notice, and finally a quiet conversation with a federal military liaison in a gray suit, who visited the station that same evening. "Did you know whose car you vandalized?" Myers, now visibly sweating, shrugged. "Just some lawyer guy." The man in the gray suit leaned forward. "That lawyer guy used to command Task Force Orion. He trained the people who trained your SWAT instructors. You're alive right now because he decided not to treat your attack like a threat." Myers tried to laugh it off, but the man didn't blink. "He holds classified clearance higher than your governor." "You made a mistake, officer." Myers finally realized he hadn't just punctured a tire. He had stepped on a landmine. When Jericho stood in court and told the truth, even the judge lowered his gaze, because some men carry scars too sacred to mock, and power too quiet to measure. The court date arrived fast. Jericho didn't call in favors, didn't use influence. He filed a basic complaint, but the room was packed. Veterans, lawyers, journalists, even federal observers. Officer Myers stood before the judge, his face drained of arrogance. Jericho took the stand, wearing a plain suit. No medals, no gestures, just truth. "When I saw my tire slashed, I didn't get angry," he said softly. "I just remembered a moment from Kandahar when one of my men was ambushed the same way. We lost him." The room fell still. "This wasn't about a car," Jericho continued. "This was about disrespecting what I represent. Every vet I fight for, every family I stand beside. That badge gives you power, but power without purpose is poison." The judge, visibly shaken, ruled immediately. Officer Myers was terminated, fined, and ordered to complete 200 hours of community service under Jericho's Veterans Outreach program. Outside the courtroom, a reporter asked, "Colonel King, why didn't you press for more?" Jericho looked her in the eye. Because I already won. He finally had to listen. Subscribe for more real stories like this. If this story moved you, hit subscribe to hear more powerful emotional stories that revealed the hidden strength behind quiet heroes. Question for you. Have you ever seen someone underestimated, only to watch them reveal a strength no one expected? Tell us in the comments. The lesson we learned from this story, why this story isn't just about a disrespectful cop and a former Delta Force commander. It's a powerful reminder that true strength doesn't need an audience. Officer Myers judged Jericho King by what he saw: a black man in a suit, quietly parking his car, walking with dignity. He didn't see the decades of service. He didn't see the scars left from war zones, from leading men into battles they were never supposed to return from. He didn't see the hands that once held rifles in silence, now used to lift struggling veterans back into life. Instead, he saw someone to mock. But Jericho didn't react with rage. He didn't scream, threaten, or retaliate. Why? Because men like him have nothing left to prove. And that's the first lesson. Greater than the strongest people are not the loudest. They're the ones who've survived what would break most of us and choose grace over destruction. We live in a world where people judge fast and loud by skin, clothes, posture, silence. But the quiet man you overlook could be the one who saved 1,000 lives. The one holding the door might have once broken down doors to rescue hostages overseas. The person you mocked for being calm may have spent years commanding respect in places where survival was measured in seconds. Jericho taught us something deeper than justice. He taught us restraint. He showed us that just because you can destroy someone doesn't mean you should. Real power lies not in domination but in discipline. And finally, this story forces us to confront our own behavior. Have you ever dismissed someone because of their title or appearance? Have you ever assumed someone was beneath you only to realize they carried a weight you couldn't even imagine? Because sometimes the people who say the least carry the most. So next time you walk past someone quietly doing their job, pause, show respect, because they might just be the reason you're safe.